For the love of Chicago, in the Bridgeport neighborhood at the corner of 38th and Union, you have Shinnick's Pub, Chicago's oldest Irish pub, and one of the oldest pubs in the entire city of Chicago in general. It has been family owned since 1938, and before that was owned by a previous family that owned it the entire time, the Shallow family. The building has been here for over 100 years, dates back to the World's Fair in Chicago in Hyde Park. I'm gonna talk to third and fourth generation family owners of this historic bar about the history, why it's so important to Bridgeport, and the importance of St. Patrick's Day. That is For Love of Chicago here in Bridgeport.
My grandparents rented the bar in 1938. My dad was 13. They lived in the back. There was an apartment back there. And my dad pretty much was raised here, but I always thought was funny at that time, my grandfather always tell us, a carry-out at that time was you came in with a bucket. And they filled from the they pulled a tapper and they filled a bucket of beer. And that was your carry-out. Whereas today you buy a six-pack.
That's hilarious. I didn't
But
know
a lot of men had to come back because the walk home, they run into people and it was empty. So they had to come back and they had to refill before they got home to their wife. But it was a bucket, literally it was a bucket of beer. This was happening like with my grandfather. So this would have been in the 30s and 40s. That was the carry out. Isn't that sort of cool though?
That is really cool. I didn't know
nasty
that.
Bucket.
I did not know that story, no. I mean, I know we've done carry out, but
that was their carry out. There was no like a six-pack of bottles or cans, stuff like that.
That's hilarious.
And it was mostly all tap beer. So that was but it was sort of comical. My grandfather goes, they never made it home the first time, but the bucket, they had to come back. I can see people coming back 3-4 times.
I can see that, definitely, yes, yeah.
If these walls could talk, that is what this place was modeled after. There's so much history here at Shinnick's. I asked Celine and Jenna to tell me all about it.
My grandparents lived in the back when my dad was a kid and was raised back there. My parents lived down the street. And that's where we were all raised, 9 of us.
Being that the building is over 100 years old, lots of history, so I asked a little bit about the history and the particular bar that's sitting right behind them. Take a listen.
It goes back to 1890, which the Shallow family had it built. And it was a bar because it was his livelihood. And at the time, there was an apartment upstairs, and that's where he lived. And then several years back, I was outside coming in, gentleman's outside looking around, and it was the great-great-grandson of Mr. Shallow, who built it in 1890. And he wanted to come in. He had come in, and during the course of the conversation, my brother, when we were redoing the bar, found the Shallow plaque for the register, the brass plaque that went on top, said Shallow, and we gave it to him. Yeah. So he was just beside himself.
I will say
we gave him the plaque.
From like a little girl standpoint. So like I went to school down the street. If my mom and dad weren't home, I'd come over and hang out with Aunt Celine and Uncle Edgar. And
they thought I lived here.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, because she was always here. But I would run behind the bar, and you could tell, like, it's this really pretty, like, mahogany color, but at the time it was black when I would come here as a kid. And you would touch it, and it was really sticky. And it was, at the time, you could smoke in bars. Yeah. So there was a gentleman who came in here, and again, correct me if I'm wrong on the story, and he recognized that it was a Brunswick bar. And he's like, I can rehab this to its, like, original glory. And I'm pretty sure you guys were like, okay. Yeah. And there is a plaque actually behind the bar that has it, that says it's an original Brunswick. And
it's right into the wood.
There's 2 of them.
So they just framed it like a plaque, just so it. But when they cleaned it, they said to us, my brother Tommy hired them. He went in looking for it because it was black, and you couldn't even see all the sketching or the etching up on the top of the wood.
All of the detailing.
You didn't even notice it.
No.
And when he came in, the guy said, it'll take us about maybe 2 weeks. They used little brushes, and they went in each quarter, and they cleaned it, not stripped it, and it took over a month. But when it was done, it didn't even look like the same back bar.
No.
It was unbelievable.
No.
So there's a fun story about the Midway Plaisance. They used to sell beer during the World's Fair right there on the Midway, and legend has it that the bar at Shinnick's has a tie to the World's Fair. Take a listen to this.
The one thing the gentleman who was in charge, whose company it was that cleaned it, he had said he was trying to track the history of the bar. And the register, he was able to, there's a serial number, so the register goes back to 1910. And he said the register is actually solid brass because it was before the war. During the war and after the war, they couldn't use solid brass because they were using it for making ammunition stuff for the war. So it was mixed. So he said yours is actually before the war.
So it's heavy.
Right.
Yeah,
it
it's
takes
very
3
heavy.
to pick it. But then he said to look at the back bar. He tried tracking it back. He said there is a possibility it came from the World's Fair. He said, but there's no paperwork to track it back there. But they were here at the time, and they were being made. They weren't being made in Chicago, the Brunswick bars.
I don't
But
remember
they
where
could
were
bring. Yeah, I
being
can't
made.
remember what they said.
I did see this bar though. Ironically, I went to Indianapolis a few years ago for the Indy 500, and this bar is at the St. Elmo Steakhouse. I
Wow.
walked in, and right away I was like, "Oh my God, that's a Brunswick bar!"
Yeah.
And the people I were with are like, "What are you talking about?" Because like no one really knows what that is. And I asked the server, the color it's more of a like a chocolate, the back bar, and the lighting is a little bit different. But I'm like, you don't see this really.
You could sort of
anywhere.
recognize them because
You
of
do.
the carving of it.
Yeah, the detailing.
A lot of
you,
it's similar.
you don't see detailing like that in anything anymore. I feel like.
With Shinnick's coming up on 90 years at this very spot, how has it survived this long?
I always say it's the from the time like we come, it's the generation. So a lot of people like my age that are in here, their parents were here,
Yeah.
and back then even their grandparents. So it just kept going, and I think part of it too is those a lot of those generations were losing through the neighborhood, and I think that's another reason why things are different a little bit.
Yeah.
But they still come in, or we'll have someone walk in. We had a guy come last year, and he was going to be 80-something years old, and he said, "I used to come in with my dad, and I'd get a pop from your grandfather in a Coke bottle."
Yeah.
And he's like, and he'd sit me up at the bar. And I said, why? He goes, oh, he brought me down here for a haircut. He goes, it was pretty much a shave, but he got me a haircut. And then I got a pop and a bag of chips.
I think there's a lot
Isn't
of
that weird?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
you
a lot of
remember it.
nostalgia here. I think there's a mixture of kind of to your point,
Yeah.
The fact that like I get to drink in here with you guys. It's really cool to be able to drink
Yeah.
in a place that like my parents
Yeah.
grew up in, and like my
And
aunts
your
and
parents
uncles.
would, our parents, and it
we,
just keeps going.
And we have a lot of families like that in the neighborhood who, like I always think about the Cavalaskis
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
like they all drink in here, and we have many families like
Yeah.
that. And I don't think you find places where you can go to a place where your grandfather and grandmother drank, and you can also be a part of that history too. So I think the nostalgia piece is definitely a part of it. But even, like Bridgeport's changed, as you said, like there's a lot of newcomers coming in who come in and I think feel this sense of like
Yeah.
warmth and home here that you really can't find in a lot of other bars and restaurants now. So, while we still have, many people who have been coming in here for generations, we still have new people who come in who feel this like tie. Like we have a couple down the street who the day after she gave birth and came
Oh my
home,
God.
they brought the baby here with the dog. And she's like, we had to come and show you the baby,
Yeah.
And like, where are you going to find that at? Where
Yeah.
people can come in and be like, I want you guys
Yeah.
to meet the baby. And we have other people that do that too. We have our kitty corner from the
Yeah.
bar. And I think that's a really cool place to sit in from a business standpoint, that like people come in and feel this sense of
Yeah.
belonging here.
This bar truly embodies what it is to be south side of Chicago, and this is why.
I had a couple come in last year. They were from Ireland. They flew in vacation, go to Sox game, and they came here, and it was in the afternoon, and so they had to overtake them from downtown. So I said, well, there's all kinds of bars downtown. He goes, no, we don't like those. He goes, we want it like to feel like at home. So we looked up Irish bars, and you guys pop by the ballpark. So,
Yeah.
and he's looking around. He goes, yeah, this is like being home. This is like being back in Ireland. I'm like, my God, I didn't even serve you yet.
That's got to be one of the highest compliments.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I took a picture of him and his wife and his son, and then she had texted me, so I was able to send her the photo.
Oh,
And when I sent her the photo, they were back in Ireland. She said, "Oh my God, I can't believe you sent this to us."
oh,
I'm like, "Yeah," I said, "I told you if I was somehow going to figure out how to get it to you."
yeah. Also, I think the amount of like love stories that have started here too is kind of
Yeah, people want to get married.
yeah, and they're as romantic as you
Yeah.
can imagine to as drunk and disorderly as you can imagine. So they're a
Yeah.
little bit of everything, and again, I think
God.
it ties back to that nostalgia of
Yeah.
like people love coming here after a date night to have a beer because this is where they kind of all started from.
So if you're a regular here at Shinnick's and you have been in the past, you know there's a certain if you know type of thing for Sox fans. Listen to this.
Yeah, we give out parking passes, so park outside the building, just throw it in your windshield, and your car's fine. It's not a bad walk to the park from here either.
no.
It's really not. I mean, I think we're used to it, but
I'm used to it,
Yeah.
and I also think it's kind of as Uncle George would do, you take a little roadie to the ball,
little roadie.
a little roadie to the
it's a
ballpark.
two-can walk.
Not a bucket.
not a
not a bucket walk.
Not a
You
bucket
have to
walk.
come back.
Yeah.
I mean, if it is, you're not coming in. You're right.
There's this fantastic little city hall sign that hangs in Shinnick's pub. What's that all about?
That came about years back with my mom and dad. At that time, there was friends of my dad's worked in politics. Some were judges, some were. So that was always like the joke. It was like City Hall. Well, one of the men in the tavern had that made, so my dad hung it. But it was like the head of circuit court. There's people like that. They would be in here, and
Yeah.
but they were from the neighborhood, so it's not like they were coming from somebody else.
Yeah.
They lived here.
Yeah,
And they, and they came in and they knew my dad, so they'd be in the bar. But then when people would walk in, they'd be like, "Oh, that's a judge. That's a judge. He's the head of what department?" And
Yeah, and growing up, like
Yeah.
I didn't realize that because again, this is normal. It was normal to me to have like these, fundraisers, so to speak, of whatever they may be. But yeah, and then you kind of leave the neighborhood and talk to people, and they're like, "You did what now in your bar?" And you're like, "Oh, what do
Yeah.
you mean? You don't have fundraisers?"
Yeah.
And yeah, so
I asked both Celine and Jenna what they want for the future of this bar in this neighborhood. Here's what they had to say.
I'll say this: when we hit 80 years, I remember saying to my mom, there were many establishments in the neighborhood that kind of just closed, and it was
Yeah.
very abrupt. And I remember being like, "How did we not know?" Or like, "How did we not know they were hurting?" Or like, "How could we have helped?" Because they're such pillars of the community, right? And I said to my mom, I go, "I think we need to thank the people that have made this place what it is all this time, because I love that we get to be in service of people in good days and bad days, and we've celebrated everything from a baby in the bar to weddings to love stories to funerals to
To some very high profile funerals.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
We've
Police,
yeah,
Yeah.
we've done everything, but I think there was something about like you can make this place, but it's not. It doesn't have the heartbeat without the people that come through the doors, And I think to me, it was like I think we should let them know that we're grateful that we've been able to do this for as long as we have, and I think we had more stories to do, and I don't know what the future holds, but
I don't know either.
But I think the beauty is like
I mean, where we're at right now,
yeah,
half of us are almost like 70s. So I started doing this when I was 30,
yeah.
and I'm 38 years doing this. So it's just changed. And I said to my sister, I go, I am not getting carried out of here. So, we got to figure out something.
All right, with it being St. Patrick's Day and all, I had to ask their favorite St. Patrick's Day story.
Back when my dad first bought the bar, it was like in '67. His first or second year of owning it, St. Pat's Parade was on St. Patrick's Day. So tons of people came back. So he had people from the Plumbers Union, and the head of the union marched in the parade. And he said to my dad, "You got an Irish bar. Where's your shillelagh stick at?" My dad goes, "I don't have one."
That's how we got those.
That big fat one right there. The guy
that what
goes,
that is?
he goes,
Yeah.
"Now you do." For over 50 years, that sat. That became part of the bar, the back bar.
And it's also become a part of that.
Yeah.
The logo.
But how
logo.
cool is that's over 50 years old. And it was just a gesture that, well, you need to have a stick on your back bar, shillelagh stick. And my dad put it up on the bar, and it's been there since
You are
then.
just full of secret stories, aren't you?
I always thought that one was sort of cool. And the
Yeah.
thing is, I know he's from the Plumbers Union. I remember my dad telling us that. I don't want to know the man's name. But it became part of the bar.
Yeah.
And the guy probably doesn't even know it, or his family doesn't, but over 50 years it's been up there.
So much has been said about the White Sox potentially moving out of the Bridgeport neighborhood, and both Shinnick's and the White Sox have called Bridgeport home for a long time. And I asked both Celine and Jenna what it would mean for the White Sox to leave the area and why they should stay on the south side. Take a listen.
I have always said that, and again, this is not me attacking the White Sox. Let me start off by saying that, okay? I don't feel like they've often tapped into the south side of Chicago fully. I think when you meet someone and they're from Chicago, and if they're from the south side of Chicago, they say, "I'm from the south side of Chicago." You never hear a north sider say, "I'm from the north side of Chicago." They just say, "I'm from Chicago." There's a certain badge of honor that one wears when you are a part of this area of the city. And I just think that it's a beautiful stadium. There's nothing wrong with it. You don't need a multi-art. Like, I don't understand the necessity of it. I think if you want to build up around it. Like, give back to the community that's been here for how many years now? Hundreds of years?
Yeah.
Like I just, to me, it's just not going to feel the same. And like, again, I'm also in a place right now that is like full of nostalgia, and like it would absolutely crush me if, you know, I was walking down Shields or walking down 35th and didn't see that there. And I just think that I think that they don't realize the like gem that they are sitting upon with the people, because the people of the South Side are truly some of the most incredible human beings you'll ever meet in your life. And I think if you just tap into that and tap into the community, like, it's going to come flourishing back to you. And I don't feel like they've really done that.
I don't know. To me, since we were kids, that's what we did in the summer. That was what, you know, you went to the ball game. And I was always part of it. And it was always cool to say, you know, well, where do you live? I live by Sox Park.
Yeah.
Even though but we could walk there. But it was a great thing. And then when all that stuff, like with the games and like opening day, I'd be in here with my sister. It was jammed. It was crazy. And then when you went to the World Series, that was just, thank God we were here, because and the bar was here, because what we went through with it, it was tons of fun, over the top stress, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we had people from all states coming in. When we had people from California. We had people coming in from Michigan, Wisconsin. I'm like, how did you find us?
Yeah.
We Googled Bars by Sox Park.
Yeah.
And your guys' website, you look like you have a lot of fun. I go, but those are parties. I go, but yeah, we do have a lot. They were coming in from out of state to be here, and I thought that was such a cool thing.
Yeah.
And each game just got bigger and bigger, and it was unbelievable. But that, and then you look back, and I think, how could you just move? You know, and so many people said, "Oh, I wish my father was here. I wish to see that." But we still want him here. I don't know. And like Jenna said, I go, I think it's a beautiful park.
Yeah.
I love staying in the outfield. Those are like the best seats.
Yeah.
Well, you're standing, but
It's a party.
Yeah,
It's a party.
a gathering center.
Kind of like coming to Shinnick.
Yeah,
Honestly,
but it's
it
such
is,
I don't know, and same thing. I don't get why you think you need a new park. It's got tremendous food there, plenty of liquor. It's a good sized park.
I think if
it's a nice park.
I think if you want to focus on getting more seats in the stadium, you focus on building the roster.
So owning a bar for almost 90 years in one neighborhood by one family means a lot, and both Jenna and Celine have interesting perspectives. Take a listen.
The one thing I think is when you say family. So we look at our family right now, and both my mom and dad are gone, but those two people, there's 81 of us now. There's 9 of us. There are spouses, then our children,
21.
then their children, then their husbands or their wives. So by the time we put everybody's names down, we're at like 81 people right now.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing though? You just don't hear families like that, but we all get along.
Yeah, we do.
And we all have a lot of fun when we get along.
Yeah.
And my sister still hosts Christmas Eve at her house, which was my parents' house down the street. We're all there.
Yeah.
It's
One
and
bathroom.
it works out.
One bathroom.
One bathroom.
And not a bad line either.
No,
Maybe
it's
two,
not
three,
too
maybe 2 people in the hallway, but
Yeah.
4th of July, her backyard is filled.
Yeah.
It's all family.
So
it's just, I think it's just a great thing.
I have always said, like, you know, I feel like an immense honor to be a part of this family. And I was like, I don't know what I did in a past life to deserve all of them. Because I really feel that way, but I'm really grateful that I have every single one of them in my life, because it'd be really sad and boring without you guys, you know?
It is a lot of fun though, isn't it?
It's a lot of fun.
Sounds like Bridgeport would be a little sad and boring without
Oh my God.
your family running it all.
God.
Yeah, I think
What was funny was when these kids started getting bigger, you weren't paying attention to it. So the one year at my sister's Christmas Eve, I go and I go, what the hell's going on? The coolers are empty.
Oh,
And I'm
oopsies.
looking in the kitchen, I'm like, what? And someone goes, you do realize they're all old enough. I'm like, oh my God.
It's time marching.
And we had a bar right at the corner, so
Yeah, so we just ran
a
up
couple
the
years go down the street.
Yeah.
All right, that is Shinnick's Pub here in the Bridgeport neighborhood. Thank you for watching, everybody. If you have a Love of Chicago idea, thomas.barnas@cbs.com. Thanks for watching. Happy St. Patrick's Day.